Hi everybody, Dave here. Today's video is going to be about our straw bale house. I've been meaning to do a little bit longer video about how we built it and things about it. So this is it. It's right here. It is a 900 square foot straw bale house. It's got 9-foot ceilings. It's got that cupola up there. That goes up to 20 feet. It's basically just an air vent for on hot days to let the warm air out. And it's got 3-foot overhangs. The walls are 2 feet thick. On the inside it's 30 by 30. So on the outside it's 30 by 34 by 34. And then the roof with the 3-foot overhangs is 40 by 40. I made it square because square is just easier. One of the neat things about it, or one of the best things, it's the economic aspects about it. That's the main reason why we built it. It wasn't like we're green, these green energy kind of people. I mean, it's all a good idea, I agree with it, but I mean, we built it because of the efficiency and the price. This critters on me. Okay, let's start over. We built it because of the price, and the thing that really sets it out is the electric bills. We pay between $35 and $45 a month year-round for electric bills. That saves you a lot of money. In a year it can save you $3,000 or $4,000 in Texas with air conditioning costs. And if you add that up over 10 years, they're looking at $30,000 or $40,000. So that's quite a bit of savings. And another thing about it is we spent $20,000 on materials for the whole house. We had to hire 3 people to help us pour the slab just because it's too hard to pour 23 yards of concrete with 2 people. So we hired a few guys to help us. But other than that, we did all the work ourselves. It took us 2 years. We did everything: electrical, plumbing, and the stucco. They're relatively low maintenance once you get the outside done too. The stucco is pretty low maintenance. What we did is we for our location here, you can see here we got these bigger trees in the front, and then if you look over the top of the house back there, we got some bigger trees in the back. And we wanted to split up the shade so that in the morning and the evening the house is in the shade, because in Texas the biggest thing is the heat. It really kills you. If I was going to build this house in Wisconsin, which I've built stuff up there already too, is I would make 8-foot high ceilings, and I wouldn't put the cupola on it because that's basically for cooling. But I mean, this house, living up there too, this house would really do well with the heating part of it too. During the winter in Texas, which isn't that bad, we burn about a quart of wood, and then it's got a floor heating system. We run that just a couple weeks out of the whole winter, so it doesn't really cost that much to heat it. The biggest thing with straw houses is the insulation and the thermal mass. And here, we'll take a look at it now. 2-foot thick walls is a lot of insulation and thermal mass. But we started with the slab, of course, and that's the gray down here. That's concrete. And what we did was I put a 2x6 on the bottom for a form, and then a 2x4 on top. And a 2x4 is a curb that comes up to the edge of the walls, the edge of the doors, and the straw sits on top of that. So in case you ever have any water in the house or leak or anything, it's up off the ground, because you want to keep your straw dry. And so we poured the slab. It was 23 yards. It's got beams in it, and it's got beams are just trenches that you dig that you fill with concrete and rebar that reinforce the concrete. And then it's got the heating system in it, and we'll put some pictures in all that. And all a straw bale house really is the walls are constructed out of straw, and then on both sides, the inside and the outside, you put stucco on it, and it seals it off. And then on the top, on the inside, there's like a wooden box that you build over the top, so the walls are completely sealed around the straw. And all the windows I wrapped in metal too. This is leftovers from the roof. I got a 2-foot break, and I wrapped everything in metal so that, as far the metal windows, there's really low maintenance. This has been painted for 5 years now, and it hasn't flaked or nothing. But in order to build a straw house like this, we had to have a dry place to do it after we did the slab. So we built the roof next, and there's two different ways to build. That, you know, basically two main ways that people build straw bale houses is they do an infill where they frame everything out, the windows and everything are all framed, and then they infill the walls with the bales of straw. And then there's load bearing walls, and that's where they build the walls first, then they put the roof on top of it, and the walls are actually bearing the load. I kind of did a hybrid between both of those. I built the frame and the roof first, and then I put the windows in after, and they're floating in the walls. They're not connected to the floor or the ceiling, so it's kind of a hybrid in that way, that I didn't like frame the windows all the way down to the slab. I just built a lintel and set it inside of there, and then just worked around them. They aren't perfectly plumb or square, but you know, and these houses are kind of plastic looking, you know, fluid, so you really don't notice it as much. I don't think it's that big of a deal. The metal underneath here, turn so you can see. The metal underneath here, that's just the 4-inch purlins coming out here, and then I framed them in with metal. And then this is a 4-inch purling, 2x4-inch purling, cut in half, used on the outside here. And the vents up here, those are I built too. It's just a screen and chicken wire, and then a metal frame that I built out of scraps, and some metal that we did buy, some angle iron I bought. But a lot of it's cut up pieces from the framing, leftover pieces. And then to understand kind of how these stucco walls are, when we first got these, when we first got the straw, you know, I had never built a straw house before. So I took a couple of the bales and set them off to the side, and I started mixing different kinds of mud, the stucco, different kinds of cement, plasters and stuff, and experimenting to see what kind would work, you know, the best. And you know, I had done some stucco work, but nothing like this, you know, more drywall than, you know, stucco. But you know, I had done some mudding, so I kind of had the technique down. And the one that I finished up with, my finished test, I got it right here. You can see it. This was attached to a piece of straw at one time. See, there's the straw, it all kind of rotted off. I just left it in the yard, but that's what you got. That's what these walls are made out of. If you look, you got your first coat, which is a really thick coat, and you fill in all the holes. In some places on the house here, it's, you know, the mud is up to 4 inches thick where the pipes, support pipes were next to the windows. You know, so it's kind of thick, but then your next coat is thinner, and it's a scratch coat too. It's less sand and more aggregate, and less or more concrete. And then you do two like that with the scratch finish, so it'll stick. And then your finished coat is just a sand with none of the stones in it, and it's a little bit thinner. And it, you know, it's pretty heavy duty stuff. You know, I've been chopping at that for a long time with lots of different things. It's been laying out in the yard, but when we did this, I wasn't able to keep up. In order to get your stucco so it doesn't delaminate, you have to have your concrete be green yet when you put your next coat on. So it's got to be like within 20 days. Otherwise, it doesn't adhere itself as good. So what we did, because we weren't able to keep that kind of a pace, it took us a year to stucco the walls inside and out. It took us 2 years to build the whole house, but a year of it was spent just stuccoing, and we did it almost every day. And I could only do like a 4-foot section at a time. And Sandra, she would mix all the mud and hand it to me, and then we did our coat by coat. In order to stop it, or in order to get it to not delaminate, we used this concrete bonding adhesive. It's kind of like a glue. And it worked pretty good. I mean, we haven't had any delaminating on here. No big chunks coming off. Very few cracks. You know, it turned out pretty good. Another thing that we did that was kind of unique is I didn't see anything on the internet on a way to mix the lime putty. And when you mix this hydrated lime, you got to mix it into like a putty. It comes in a powder, and it's kind of caustic. You got to be careful with it. But you use quite a bit of it. And in order to mix it in 55-gallon drums, I made a mixer, a homemade mixer. It's kind of neat. This is what it looks like. It's right here. I cut this out of a water heater. These are just pieces for the blades cut out of a water heater. That's what gave it its shape. And then I just welded it together. And this is actually the rotisserie from this grill, but it had a bolt on the end and it fit in the drill. So I use that. And then a drill like this, and you would mix it. You mix 5 bags of the hydrated lime with 3/4 of a 55-gallon drum of water about. And you start off with just the water in there, you get it spinning, and then you have somebody add the lime as you go. And it's messy. Sandra will put some pictures of it. But it just about the time it's mixed, this drill is just about melted. You know, it was probably overdriven a little bit, but for, you know, mixing what we did, it worked really good. Walk around the outside here. The only part that isn't straw is this part right here where the showers will go inside, but there's like a 4x4 foot shower here. And we didn't want to have straw next to where the shower is because, you know, water leaks. You want to try and avoid getting your walls wet. So we didn't put any penetrations, no pipes go through it. All the water pipes are on interior walls, you know, so we just wanted to avoid any kind of water getting on your straw, because that's one of the things that can really hurt you on a thing like this is water. And, you know, any house, if you get them wet, it's going to hurt them. But this one, if you're really careful not to get the straw walls wet, these walls will last over 100 years. There's houses in Australia that people built 100 years ago, and they're still standing. There's been some colleges that have done tests on these houses, and they claim that straw bale houses are actually stronger than stick built houses in earthquakes and tornadoes. Here's the wiring system we put in ourselves. I went over the top of the walls. All the mains go up over the top of the wall into the attic, and then we brought it in under the ground, and it goes out here, and it goes out to the pole there. But more, you can kind of see our patches here. This is the days where the stucco here, and here's the days where the stucco. You see this kind of ends of the seams here. So it took a long time, but it was worth it until we found out we couldn't keep it. You know, we had planned on living in this house a lot longer, and that would have saved us a lot more money with the energy bills. But now we're not able to keep it. I'm not going to get into any of that. But we'll just keep on tour here. These doors, I made these doors out of 2x4s. They work pretty good. I don't know. To me, in my opinion, you can't really buy very good screen doors anymore. So I made these. I put the wire on there. You can see how this is in here. Here's the door frame, and the stucco runs right up to it. I made this door. This is pan. It's not evil or demonic. We found it at a rummage sale. It's not the devil or nothing. So it's just kind of a neat old big door, you know. And made this door out of scrap metal or wood that we tore off from the other place. That's the truth window. This is, a lot of people put these in these straw houses, so you can see the walls are actually stucco and the straw underneath. This the stucco on the inside is a little bit different mix. It doesn't have as much concrete in it or cement. It's got more lime, but it doesn't get wet, of course. But you can see how thick the walls are here. This is what gives you your thermal mass and your insulation. It really works good. During the summer, when the sun is out on this side of the house and it's all hot, you got to close the drapes and stuff. You know, you got to work with it. Here is the stove that we heat the place with mostly during the summer, during the winter. 9-foot high ceilings. It's kind of an open plan here. This is like the living, cooking, dining area. Let me turn some lights on. There we go. We made the countertop. It's a concrete countertop and used a lot of rebar. All the walls are OSB and 2x4s. I framed everything in with 2x4s because we went with the cheapest materials we could work with, and the cheapest materials you buy around here is pipe and this metal roofing stuff. The roof is a Galvalume, which reflects a lot of heat. It works really well. I do a lot of like thermal testing just to see how the house performs, and I'm really surprised at how well it does. You know, how unbelievable climatic it stays in here for people. But this is a pantry room that we built in here. built all these shelves, and you see the sink and all the plumbing and stuff is on the inside wall here, so we didn't have to run any plumbing inside the straw walls. It's just something you want to stay away from. You can do it, people do it, but it was just easier not to have it in there. Here's our laundry area. Here's the water heater that supplies hot water for the house, and we heat the floor with it. Here's a pump. There's a thermostat, turns the pump on, it circulates hot water through the floor and heats it up. Works really well. Can't say enough about floor heat. If I had this up in Wisconsin, I would definitely put the floor heat in, because this place would be amazing in Wisconsin for heating. It's really something. Then the electrical on the outside walls, we did put that in there. Of course, you gotta have outlets, but those wires you can jam right into the straw. You run it inside the straw, and it's not really a problem, because if electric wires get hot in a wood wall, or if they get hot in a straw wall, either way, you're gonna have a problem. And these straw walls actually, with fire, they're not as flammable as you would think, because there's no air inside of here. It's like trying to light a phone book on fire. They're just, it doesn't work. So they're actually better in fire too, but it just makes for a hefty house. It's the laundry room. Here's the back door. Sandra did a lot of this pargetting stuff here. It's kind of an artwork thingy. I don't know if you can see it. It's like a tree. There's some more of that in the house. The doors, I framed all these, or I put all the biggest possible doors in. And if anybody ever buys this house and they're going to change these doors or these windows out, I would recommend just taking the door out, taking this part of the frame out, and leaving all this together, and just framing in a little bit smaller door. Same thing with windows. I would never recommend anybody trying to tear these walls open and restock them. You would ruin the place. That's why I made the windows big. Here's the bathroom. I wanted bigger windows. Let's say 20, 30 years from now, you put on a new window. Just tear the window out to here and just put a little bit smaller window in. But here's the bathroom. Here's the shower I was talking about. To isolate the water from the shower, from the straw walls, we built this as a separate structure. It's 2x4, sheeting on both sides and tile. And then we got a double shower set up in here. But it's different because it gives you a little bit more room. These walls are 2 feet thick, and that's only 6 inches thick, so it's kind of like an odd space. But here's how the rest of it looks. Plumbing in the interior walls. See the plumbing up here, I was planning a false ceiling and just hiding these pipes like this. But that flexible pipe for water, boy, that is the ticket. So much easier. There's on YouTube, you can go on YouTube and find out how to do all the electrical, all the plumbing, everything. This is a closet that's in between the bathroom. I got the ladder out so we can go up in the attic up here in a minute. But closet, and then this goes around to our bedroom, and then here's where we came in. So it's just, it's a smaller house. You could reframe this house 3-bedroom pretty easy, and keep the same square footage. 900 square feet for 3-bedroom, 1 bath. You could have a small family house for $20,000. And then now we'll go up in the attic. Here's the attic. The cupola goes up in the middle. It's like 4 feet by 4 feet. There's a fan in the kitchen that you turn on to get the air to go out. There's a light here. You can see up here we got about 1 foot of blown insulation. Over at the edge there, that's the box we built over the top of the wall to seal out the straw on the top. There's a little walkway I built to get at the plumbing inside the shower in the corner there. But that brace right there goes to the top of the wall. So the walls are tied to the roof in 2 places, on the outside and the inside. So it's all kind of put together. And then I didn't put any sheeting on the roof because after the sun goes on, I wanted it to disperse heat as fast as possible. So I was just extra super careful with all these screws so they don't leak. And then when the sun goes down, you have a lot less thermal mass to cool off up here too, to allow the house to cool down in the evening. Because that's the important thing with these houses, is making them able to cool too, so they don't hold as much heat. But here's the cupola, if you can imagine looking at it from the bottom, this is what you'll see when you look up. They got a light in here, the windows, you open the windows, and down here is a door. You pull on it, and it folds up into this opening here, into this opening, and then it seals up the attic, and then you're venting from inside the house. Here's a view. They're dirty windows, but let's look into the south. Here's looking to the north. The motorhome down there. And that's the straw bale house. It didn't work out for us. But if you're kind of handy and you like building your own stuff and you want to save a pile of money, you know, you can build your own. There's lots of people on the internet doing it. There's lots of places on the internet where you can get a lot of information about it. And you know, if anybody has any questions, you know, ask in the comments. I'll try and steer you what I know. You know, I'll try and help you out as much as I can. You know, but thanks for watching. Bye.